Welcome back to the Wizards of Amazon podcast, your weekly blueprint for explosive success. I'm Carlos Alvarez, full-time successful Amazon seller and organizer of the largest Amazon seller meetup group in the world. Let's do this. Welcome to the Wizards of Amazon podcast, where we cover all things private label. My name is Carlos Alvarez. I will be your host for the show. On today's episode, we have a new close friend of mine, an amazing new Amazon seller, Noemi Bolojan. Noemi, how are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
You've had weeks to plan for this podcast, is that right?
No, years.
I reached out to you last night so that we don't have anything rehearsed for this, which I love. And I've been very impressed this year with your growth as an Amazon seller. I wanted to do an episode, Noemi, on just from what we hear in the group. You're a little background. So we met this year. I always want to say 2 years, and you always correct me on that. But like, when did we meet?
February 27th, I guess.
Wow, the day. You know the day. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so February 27th of this year, pre-COVID. Oh, that means we're COVID friends.
No, actually, it was 2 meetings or 3 meetings before the COVID started.
Okay. Wow, it seems like a lot longer, but in such a short time too, you've experienced selling as during a pandemic and joined the leadership team of our Amazon seller meetup group. That's amazing. It feels like 2-3 years, but I wanted to do, people in our group constantly talk about just how hard it is this year. Is it too late to start selling on Amazon? If I don't have a ton of money, I can't be successful and things like that. So I wanted to find someone that was a new seller or relatively new. I mean, a year is an eternity on Amazon, but a relatively new seller that is having some successes on Amazon during the last year. And then I thought of you, and to add to that, I think you have like one of the most competitive products on Amazon, period, short of a weight loss supplement, and you're still successful. So this is gonna be the perfect episode. Before diving in and unpacking that stuff, for people that in our meetup group, everybody knows you, but for people listening to this that are not in the meetup group, that don't yet know you, can you introduce Noemi Bolojan?
Yes, sure. So my name is Noemi. I started selling on Amazon around February, and actually that's when I started the journey, around February, and started selling from July, end of July. So I'm kind of new to this whole business. Not much to say about me. Like, my profession is music producer. That's my background, And I think that also so much creativity with what I did beforehand, just like it was excellent to what I'm doing now. So yeah. If you have any more questions, just go on.
I mean, I'm gonna add on that something that I did not know before this podcast is that you're also very modest. You were in a band. I think that's something you can't just like not include, but you were in a band. You've done some really cool stuff. Also 6 months of selling. That's true. So February to July was, where did you go from, yes, I'm going to start selling, I'm interested in selling in Amazon in February, to picking your product? Because July you started selling. So from February to when did you pull the trigger and buy your product?
So around May, we actually bought the product. Until then, I took some courses, and I tried to understand exactly what I'm doing and to see how to do it more efficiently. I think it was also pure luck to whatever happened, because I could say that it was all me. I knew exactly what I wanted, and it's not true. So actually, the first time we met, I attended one of your meetings here in Fort Lauderdale, and it was you were the only person who was saying that all products that I launched were successful. Beforehand, everyone I was talking to were saying, or was giving these courses, gurus were saying, maybe not the first product, maybe not the second product, maybe not the third product, the fourth product for sure it's going to be successful. And for me, that was clearly a no for an answer. Like, I couldn't take that as an answer. I mean, what do you mean? So and basically you inspired me to go and to niche down on, we are selling in the pet niche, and to go niche down and find products and from there on, I think it's just history. So I was like constantly learning, constantly like looking for suppliers, constantly trying to understand to my best knowledge, how to do stuff. So basically, did that answer your question or?
Yeah, 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 absolutely. I'm glad to hear that I was able to inspire you in some way. And if anybody can hear the drilling while we're doing this, of all days to record, I have construction on the other side of the wall, but that's just something you deal with during COVID. The I wonder if people are
Okay.
going to keep using this COVID excuse too, Noemi, like 2 years from now, like, oh, it's COVID, like that's why there's noise. But no, all good. Um, I want to how did you go about though picking the product? Because you took some courses. I like to think that the meetup group, and we have all, as you know, we have just everybody has a different way of doing it. I encourage that. My approach though is I get into things that I'm passionate about or would like to be passionate about, and I like to build a brand behind it. I'm curious as to what was your approach after going to looking at these courses, being influenced by the meetup group. What was the path for you to find your product and decide, yes, this is the one that I'm going to do?
Just to back up a bit, so for me, it was also like I think I didn't give you enough credit actually because I was listening to, and I'm still an avid listener of you and super fan, of Wizards of Amazon and the podcast and everything what you put out. And I think also that helped me tremendously to understand better because I was saying about courses. So don't imagine this like people are like talking about courses, high end courses, wherever. I took like $500 courses too, which if I would take them again, it would be like, why are you like, that's very bad investment, But what I mean to say, it's like, it helped me also to understand branding. It helped me understand that it's not only a product. So while listening to your podcast, I understood that it's not only selling a product, it's building up a brand. It's be like niching out, it's understanding what to do, And at that point, I was like, okay, let's find a product. This is the money that we have like available. If it's like gone, it's gone. It's fine, no problem, And based on that budget, we'll try to find out the best product that fit the niche. Of course, I was also like looking at it in Helium 10, like as everyone, as every like YouTube video is teaching you, these are the parameters, these are like what to look for, this is how much money it makes, and go for it, So it also was like the way how I sourced it out. Now, I didn't know a lot of things. I didn't understood how competitive my niche was. Once that we spoke, I think like 2 months or 3 months already in production, already everything happening, and I was showing you the product, I was like, oh man, this is really competitive. I had no clue, and you were like so scared about it. And I was like, I think that was the moment for me when I realized actually what I am doing, the niche I am doing, So it would be my absolute pleasure to say that I knew exactly how I go about it. I didn't. Also, I didn't realize that with COVID, when COVID hit, when COVID hit, we didn't realize that it's going to be an essential or non-essential product. So that was also like a major like luck here, So I think that also has to do with it.
Yeah. Did Amazon decide your product was essential or non essential? It was non essential, yes?
No, it was essential.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah.
So because it was a pet product, it kind of got bunched up with pet foods and all this other stuff. Oh, I didn't even think about that in all the mayhem back then. That's really good.
Yeah, correct. So this is why I'm saying I'm trying to like I know that I did some things really well, but I cannot take credit for everything what happened because you're a newbie and you don't know about those stuff, and also maybe Amazon had thought that it's a non-essential or whatever. So I would have like the things that everything that like now it's success, it would have been like a total failure because just Amazon decided that it's not important for them. So I would have to think my way. I mean, I would have be successful then as well, but it's like it's harder. It would have made it harder. So
I'm
um,
tr- I'm trying to recall what. Let me word this right so you don't take this the wrong way. But the there was, like, for example, in my businesses when I started, in many of them, if I would have had a business degree, or if I would have had partners and finance people and all of that, it would have been filed for bankruptcy. It would have been closed down. Anyone that would have looked at the books here that was smart, doing air quotes, would have said this is done.
yeah,
And because I didn't know any better, or I was too dumb, or I was too ignorant to know better, I I approached it like I have just as much chance of success in this as anybody else because I didn't know any better.
Right.
And that mindset I feel actually attributed to me succeeding. Um, I'm wondering if that's what we're talking about here. So you got into this and you were surrounded by a bunch of people that were like, you can do this, and you source this product. You're thinking about building a brand, but you didn't know to look at, wow, all my competitors are from China, or how competitive it is, or how expensive it would be in PPC, or anything like that. And I wonder if any of that attributed to your success so far.
Yeah, I totally believe that it has to do very much on how driven you are and how how much you want it to happen. Because yeah, it has to do with what you were saying. I think it also has to do with failure is not an option, so you'll make it work. It doesn't matter how, but you'll make it work.
No plan B.
No plan B. Plan B should be to die. you know,
I
but
love it. All right. So far, this, if I'm describing this right, your first year of selling has been nothing but smooth sailing, no
exactly,
setbacks, tons
exactly.
of money. Is that right?
That's totally right. No, not at all. So I think, and also like, especially you were saying about the group and about like having someone there is like who already successfully done what you were doing. Actually, for me, sometimes that came as a setback because you were saying like sometimes you're so maybe negligent, maybe ignorant, maybe new to something that you will go, oh, I don't care, I'm going for it. So most of the time, what I also noticed is like having people who knew better or knew more than I did. Sometimes it was like it scared me because like so many stuff that I don't know about. Like I haven't thought about this ever. It's like all that sometimes like truly positive mindset, but sometimes like negative mindset because it didn't work like from their side. It didn't work for me. So how can it work for you as a newbie? Or this is what happened to me, and somehow trying to throw all that the negativity, or the all the adversity they faced, in front of you. Like these are all the things that they are going to happen, or like also when I started, I was like, okay, it's going to be PPC. I didn't know better. I didn't know there's like other ways. Of course, I knew Instagram. I knew what I want to do, but I didn't understand how hard it's going to be what I want to do. So sometimes also I think knowing too much can paralyze you in a sense that you're not anymore looking at how to manage risk. Rather, you're looking how to, I don't know, to, I don't know, to,
Oh,
be
you're absolutely right. Yeah, you're absolutely
so yeah, I think that was like an advantage. And also it was like the backup. If these people could make it and they are still where they are, I can also make it. So biggest failure that can happen, it's like I'm still alive. So there's no, you know.
no. I mean, what was? Let me think about how to word this. What was the? How about what was the biggest setback you had since launching in May? Or even, I mean, you had to deal with a factory. So since communicating with the factory and getting this mass produced all the way up until now, what do you feel was the biggest setback or challenge that you faced that made you say like, oh blank, I didn't anticipate this. This is going to sink me. Or did you?
I don't really necessarily think it's like a failure or setback or something like that. Um, when we budgeted for this, we were clearly okay. This is the budget for it. We didn't took in consideration your advice on having enough budget for this, like this batch, the next batch, and for like advertisement. Let's say
Well,
like that.
okay, do you mind sharing? You don't have to, but do you mind sharing what you thought your initial budget was going to be going in?
Sure. So the initial budget it was $5,000.
Okay. Oh yeah.
That was the and in truth it was around that amount if you're not calculating all the other stuff like branding and everything what we did, or like brand registration and everything. Because we didn't know about those stuff. But as I was saying, as I was listening to your podcast, I really got inspired of everything and trademark and all those stuff because I didn't know about those stuff. So but once that I understood the importance of it and understood now like 5 months ago, I couldn't tell myself how important it is to run a video ad versus like running just PPC and like for the product. What's it called product. Uh, yeah, there you go.
Sponsored product ads, sponsored brand ads, video ads.
So the sponsored product ads. So versus how less are we charged now for like having brand registry. And back then for me it didn't made sense why to have it, but like once that you learn more and more and more, you can understand better what you're doing and what's worth to invest in or not. So yeah, and of course that's like that budget expanded and even more and even more and even more, because that was enough for the first batch, and it was like 1,000 units, which we hoped it will be enough for 2-3 months, which was enough for less than a month. So it's something that you cannot anticipate. And honestly, I think a setback was we didn't anticipate it, it's going to be this successful from the start,
Sure.
which again it caught you unprepared.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. So you're saying you did not anticipate being successful from the start?
Be successful from the start.
Yeah.
Like expected to be successful, but not this successful, and to be able to do such a good job. As modest as I can say it. Sometimes it's like it's a failure and it's like whatever. But when also like it's hurting you when you're too successful very fast. Because you didn't prepare for it.
Yeah, there's such a thing as unhealthy growth.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And what you were saying earlier, just to make sure we're saying the same thing, is what I was saying before. Like, for example, if somebody says they want to start a private label brand with $5,000, both our mutual good friend Bradley Sutton and Tim Jordan and several others, they've done some cool studies on how you could launch something with 3 or 5,000. That's not really my take on things. My take is that you need more than that. And but let's say it was 5,000. All I mean is when one person says you need 5,000 to launch a private label, what they usually mean is they're going to put $5,000 in a product, in
Mhm.
inventory. And I suggest that if you wanted to do that, then the budget you should have in that scenario is $15,000. So you have 5,000 to operate, create the listing, get the videos. You have 5,000 ready to reorder and not run out, plus the 5,000 in inventory. So that's what we were saying. The same thing there. Yes. Awesome. What what you dropped Instagram in there, and I feel like if I don't at least ask a question on that, I might get some bad emails. So
Don't
not
ask.
not everybody that gets in here and starts selling on Amazon looks at Instagram as an option to leverage for their Amazon success, or they've heard of it as oh, that's where some people go and tag out and get an influencer and maybe pay too much money. It's a huge unknown. So why what's your degree of comfort with Instagram, and how did you use it for the success of your product?
Um, Always when people were showing up with their 6 figure, and it's like, guys, for me it was like totally the opposite. It was like, look, I have this community. How do I bring them a product? So for me, that was the angle, and also Instagram. That was the angle that I am using Instagram or leverage Instagram. So I started like 2 3 years ago, also taking courses, affiliate marketing courses. And then I try to understand how Instagram works and how to build communities. And for me, that is like huge, because actually what you're doing now with Meetup and everything what you're doing now. So that's what I did, but on like international scale, because it's Instagram. And how does this help me right now? It's like it's way easier to contact someone who already you're friends with or you already have a connection with to promote your product, rather than just going and trying to find someone I don't know who you don't know and you don't know anything about them. It's trying to build up a community where you can make friends in the same time they are very happy to promote your product. So this is the way how I approach Instagram. And yeah, it's like it's a learning curve. You understand better how, I don't know, how
Well,
to do
on
then.
a scale of 1 to 10, how 10 being everything, how beneficial was your Instagram community into the success of your product?
Um, it was, I would say, 7 or 8.
Wow.
I think also it has to do a lot with the listing, like because most of the time people are just like thinking, yeah, it's a whatever, but if the listing wasn't properly optimized and if I didn't knew what I'm doing PPC wise, I think that even if it's Instagram or even it's if it's a bread product and it's you don't really know how to source it well, it still wouldn't have. So I think this is why it was successful. Otherwise, I would have given like a 2 or 3, because it doesn't really matter if someone believes in your product. It's still like keyword. People are looking for keywords. They are not looking only for one people who's like or one or someone who's like very excited about your product, even if they have like 10,000 followers, because those 10,000 followers might not buy your product. So I think it went hand in hand.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I didn't even have all the details in there. I thought you were going to say 5 or 6, so 7 or 8. I'm going to have to pick your brain a little bit
Mhm.
after this. And the cool thing is, since you do listen to this podcast, thank you so much for that. You get to hear yourself on Monday when this airs. So that'll be really. You going to listen
Exciting.
to it? Are you going to listen to yourself on the podcast, or
How many times I'm also like, I hope you receive this video as well. I love it. Yeah.
I mean, people listening to this, what what advice would you give a new seller that hasn't, they started this year and they haven't had the successes that you've had, and they want, they're not ready to quit. Like they're like us. They didn't know any better, and it's like they're all in on this. What advice would you give them to turn it around, or if they're just starting right now, like what advice would you give a new seller?
Mhm. Understand your product and understand that 90% of the things you want to know. So be prepared for everything and be open minded for everything. And I think also knowing exactly what you're doing. Sometimes also, as I was saying about the listing and about optimization, about PPC and about that's the game. Most of the people are like, I'm going to sell you this product and it's pretty and it's like everyone wants it. But if you don't know how to sell it, and this is where the algorithm comes in. Like I had the same similar background with Instagram, because I understood the algorithm, I could leverage it. So I think that here it's very important to understand not only the product that you're going to sell or the branding part, but understand how, if you're selling on Amazon in this case, how to make it possible to find that product on Amazon, because most people are not talking about, they're talking about the product, or most courses or most YouTube videos, they're talking about this is the product and this is how much money makes. That's true, but it's true only for me as a newbie or as a beginner. That was true, and it was like amazing, and that was the way that I went, like this is how much money it's going to make this product, because like the numbers. What you don't know is that you don't understand the numbers. You understand only what they want you to see. So if it's like making 30,000, or and also like the data, it's also skewed. So it would be like, and you the way that you can know it's skewed, it's like looking at your sales and looking what the data gives you. It's like you will clearly see that's not there. So super important, if you're going to go to the specific route of like searching for your product as you were taught by Medium 10 or something like that, look at the things that you don't know. I would say look at the things that you don't know, and look at the things that people are not talking about, because those are the most important things. And then just understand exactly what's your game plan, and just like you have to be comfortable enough and confident enough to like buy the product and just go for it. As otherwise, like really there's no failure. So or failure is not an option. So that would be
I love it. And for everybody listening to this on audio, I highly suggest you go to video, because she just gritted her teeth and was like biting down, like ready to take on the world. So it's totally worth watching the YouTube video that comes out in 2 days upon the time this airs. Take a screenshot, by the way, and jump into the Telegram group and tag Noemi and I. It's gonna be good.
that's
I like it.
awesome.
That was that like "Arr" face, like you were ready to go. All right, so in about 6 months, you'll no longer be able to be called a new seller. still be a newbie, maybe you'll have a year under your belt, you'll have like battle scars, and you're on your way to being a veteran. What's next? Like, what do you have in the chamber? You have this product, you brought it to market, super competitive, you've been successful at it. You've obviously learned some stuff along the way. Like, what are the plans moving forward?
Sometimes being hard-headed, it pays off. Like,
You hard-headed?
I, I don't know. No, we're talking about you. Um, no, so sometimes that pays off well. So you have this fancy 10K advanced group that I want to.
100K a month?
Yeah, 100K a month. That's the next one. So, and it's funny also when we had the podcast on the serious seller, Bradley was asking, "What's the next?" Plan. That's the next one, And as stupid and not necessarily stupid, but as foolish it sounds like. For me, it's like important to know what I want, and then I would bring the things. So let's say if I have a product that makes 30,000, 40,000, I need only two more products, and I'm there. So somehow like trying to figure it out. Okay, now let's get
We'll,
back to
we'll raise it to 150 a month at that point.
There you go. No, but I think like really now getting on the serious side, on the thinking part, the there you go. So bringing out next products, we are already working on the second product. It's a variation of what we're selling now, and trying to see, for example, now our product it's a large standard size. So we're trying to make it into a small standard size, which is like bringing you a lot of extra cash that you're selling the same product and you can make the same profit that you would make for the first one. So trying to Tom Tom had a really good Tom, our friend from Wizards of Amazon, had a really good idea of drilling down and just go down and understand your niche and bring this similar products or same type of products so you can expand and you can make the same amount of money or very similar amount of money. That's the plan for now. Trying to find very similar product to already what we're selling or versions or something like that is still in there that you already know how it's working, like PPC wise, you already so I have all that information. So this is what we're trying to do because first we try to expand but find another product, and I found myself very overwhelmed once again because I understood that what's next, everything is new, everything's like what to do next, but once that you understand that no, you actually can do a variation of the same product, and you already have all the data, you already have all the customers, you already have everything, you just have to like a different version of it. That would be like, yes.
Can you clarify? My daughter's singing in the background, but can you clarify when you say a variation of? Are we talking about because I also heard you mention, which is like a advanced technique of differentiation, which was re-engineering the product to fit a smaller size so you get charged less from Amazon. That's genius. But on the
Like,
variation side,
it was from you, like I was
oh, it
inspired.
was from me. No wonder it sounds genius. Yeah, it's a great move. What a wise person said that. No, the when you mention variation of the product, is it a 2.0 improvement of the product, or are we talking about a color size variation? Like, what do you mean by that?
So it would be both. It would be what we're doing now. It's like it might be a 2.0, but I would say no one sells. I think I can give you this example. So, for example, you have a glossy version and a matte version, and no one sells the matte version. Now, the matte version it might be more expensive, and people, you know, usually what's happening is like people are looking to what sells and they are not trying to understand how can make my profit like bigger, what could I do to, as I was saying about re-engineering, or what could I do, like it might also be a failure, total failure, because no one is doing it, but in the same time I'm thinking, the niche that we are in, it's mainly female folk, like 70-80% of our customers are female, so I kind of understand that side. Most of our competitors are male, and you can see that in design, in branding, you can see it everywhere. So this is why I'm still like going on the lean, and we'll try, okay, this is something new that no one has it, and let's see how it's working. And we are like, let's see, let's try it out, it might work, it might not work, but at least the loss, if we take a loss, it would be way smaller rather than bringing out a new product that you don't know anything about it, that's like new people to talk with, new suppliers, know everything, so the loss could be very small. So this is kind of the way how I'm trying to think about like new products. Anything what you do, do it in a way that the loss wouldn't kill you or wouldn't hurt you so badly. So
I call it controlled failures
yes.
because that whole thing everybody says, fail forward. Oh, look, you're showing the book Fooled by Randomness. Yes, I'm on like I think I'm on read 4 now, and I still feel like I'm not retaining everything in the book. But
In the middle on, so but it's nice to see that the book, what the book says is like we're actually doing those stuff. So the reason I showed you the book, it's exactly what they are talking about. Try to these rare events, try to help to not try to make these rare events to not wipe you out. So if it's going to be a failure, this next version of the product, we're trying to make it to not wipe us out and to still like, it doesn't hurt me. Okay, I lost money or I made less money than I was expecting, but it didn't like kill me. So, and also there's one more version that we're trying to do by re-engineering. It's actually the current product, but only half a size, which would mean like half of the price, and we still like can bump up the price enough to make enough profit. So that's the way that I'm trying to think now.
I love it. So the next time you're on the show, I get to ask you, was it a controlled failure or was it an epic failure or was it a success? So,
Already we know that it's a control failure. How big or of failure or how big of a success? That's like
yes, but it's definitely controlled. I get it.
yes, yes, definitely.
I mean, one last question, and I want to be respectful of your time. What do you consider yourself to be a successful seller?
um, do I have to be modest or not?
No, you run your own business and you're running a successful product. Like this is the time you do not have to be modest at all.
Okay, good. Um, obviously, but success is like it comes in phases. You don't even know what success is for us. Like for this year, come on, like look out the pandemic. The rare event just hit. You know, Are you successful? Yes, you are. Can you be even more successful? Yes, you can. It's just like success is also a level. Like also like you can go and do more and more and more. And what success for me today is like, okay, making sure that the next batch is going to come properly and everything is like, or the new product is going to be here in time and everything is like settled. So yes, you are successful. It's just like it's a way of thinking through and going through things. I guess this would be my um, best
What
answer.
was that the modest answer or was that the all out Noemi answer?
That's, so it has no attitude inside. That's
No
all.
catitude. I like I love it. I think you're a very successful seller. Hence, I mean that's why we're here. I think you're an extremely successful seller, and I think you definitely have a lot of levels ahead of you that you're going to conquer. So I look forward to being a witness of that. Before letting you go, anybody listening to this that wants some catitude, um, or just some tips or wants to thank you for motivating them to break through some barriers that they're going through, what's a good way or what's the best way for people to reach you?
Well, you can reach me either on Instagram under my name. It's Noemi Bolojan. Either on Telegram as well. But I think for Telegram to join you,
You have
what?
to go to amazongroupchat.com.
Yes, to Amazon Group. Oh, there you go. Funneling. All right, love it. You have to amazongroup.com to find me there as well. But mainly, yeah, it's my name. So I made sure that anyone who's like searching me for me, it's like my name, and they can find me on any platform basically.
Yeah, I'll put your Instagram handle in the I think the only one I had was like related to your business, so I didn't include it in the show notes, but I didn't even think of your personal IG handle. So I'll include that in the show notes. Before you get off the hook, I give you the same treatment I give everybody that's on the show. I have a feeling I know the answer because you may have flashed the book on the screen.
I don't know.
It's not okay. Then I'm all ear. I have my pen and paper ready. What is your favorite book and why?
So favorite book and why? I don't have a favorite book. First off. Because each time as I was saying like success, it's like comes and goes. Each time you will have a favorite book and why it's because it speaks to you to the level that you are currently. So, as I was saying, like the Food by Randomness by the Sim Current is an awesome book. Also, it was I don't know. It's amazing to know about things that you think that you know about and you are proven wrong. So those are the type of books that I like to read.
And that's Fooled by Randomness, and the author is
Nassim
Nicholas Taleb.
Yes. And one more book. I don't know if it's favorite, but something really important that changed my way of thinking is Richard Fordham by Robert Kiyosaki.
Absolutely.
And Thinking Fast and Slow.
Excellent book.
What else? Influence and Persuasion.
You went from not having one favorite book to like rattling off half a dozen amazing books. So
not having one favorite means that you have a lot of favorites. So
do you have a go-to book?
um,
Do you have any books that you read books multiple times?
I'm listening to podcasts multiple times, and a specific podcast then besides your podcast. So,
Good answer. Good answer. Good answer.
besides your podcast, there's a podcast of Naval. It's Naval Ravikant.
Absolutely.
I think it's episode 038, where like all the small, like the short episodes all together. That's something that I'm listening to 2-3 times per week. It's just like all the time when I'm listening to it, yeah, I'm hearing something new, and it's like sometimes like people like to hear motivational stuff. For me, that's the motivational stuff, like thinking rather very very small box how to figure out things. So I think you receive like more than you asked for.
I'm sorry?
I think that you receive more books than you asked for. So hopefully,
Yeah, no. That was great. That's a lot for me to put in the show notes. Thank you.
Right, awesome.
Noemi, thank you so much for being a guest on the show. I really appreciate it. I'm positive that listeners of the show are going to learn a lot from this and be motivated. Not to mention, they now need to buy about 6 books on Audible that they maybe haven't read before. Thank you so much. Have an awesome day, and I look forward to speaking to everybody next week. Liked what you heard and want to stay connected? Join our Facebook group or find me anywhere on social media at Wizards of Amazon, or text the word Amazon to 69922.